Welcome to Real Estate Investing Abundance, the show for busy, fulfilled professionals like you to learn how to develop financial independence built on solid, passive real estate investments. Now, here is your host, Dr. Alan Lomax.
Hello, enlightened investors. Welcome back to Real Estate Investing Abundance. I'm your host, Dr. Alan, and thank you so much for being with us. It is always a delight and a pleasure to be with you, and we are happy to have a guest with us today who is a returning guest, Jens Nielsen, and he was with us in our previous podcast, Creekside Chats, with successful real estate investors. So we're delighted to have him back with us again today. And we are going to look at don't create a cage around our current reality, a mindset during challenging times. And who hasn't experienced challenging times? Jens immigrated from Denmark in 1996, and after a successful career in IT, Jens followed his passion for real estate and coaching and is now a full-time real estate investor and certified high-performance coach. He is currently a direct owner or general partner in over 2,000 units around the country, valued at over $250 million. As a certified high-performance coach, Jens has coached over 100 clients to higher levels of success in their business and personal lives through strategic accountability and personal growth. Welcome, Jens. We're so glad to have you back with us. Can you take us into the show and just share a memorable experience that was key to helping you be who you are today?
Yeah, thanks, Alan. I'm excited to be back on and talking to you again today. So I think a memorable experience where I am today was really kind of in the beginning of the pandemic, right? 4 years ago, and everybody was freaking out, right? Is the world going to end? Are we gonna, is nobody gonna pay rent? Are we gonna lose all our properties? All these different fears were floating around, right? And some people decided to sit on the couch and watch Netflix for the next 2 years, and other people decided that maybe this was a time to make a shift. And really, as I went through that period of fear and uncertainty, my wife encouraged me to, you probably need to get some coaching, get somebody to help you see through these immediate challenges and see what's possible, right? You've been doing this real estate stuff for a few years. Why doesn't, more than a few, but 5, 6 years, maybe it's time to really scale it up to the next level. And at that time, when I had my own coach, and in the time where a challenging time, I was able to scale my portfolio, leave my W-2 job, and actually start living the life that I had been dreaming of for years, right? So I think that was probably a big pivot for me back then, about 4 years ago now.
Well, that's interesting, Jens. It was a time of fear and concern in your own life, and fear of what was going to happen, I guess, to your current portfolio, and not certain as to where to go. So what you did was reach out, and did you get a new coach at that time, or you just took a different direction with the coach that you were working with?
I got a new coach. It was somebody I had sort of done a few group sessions with, and he was offering one-on-one coaching. So at that point, I was like, okay, it's time to step up and put my money where my mouth is and really commit to it, right? And it literally changed my life. There's no questions asked there. I mean, it was a huge, huge impact on me and my success and my relationship with my wife and everything else. So yeah, it was a huge step forward.
Yeah, that's it. It takes a lot of courage in a lot of ways to make ourselves vulnerable enough to actually say that, hey, I need some help here, and then to actually make a contact with somebody who can make a positive difference in your life. That just reminds me of that old saying: the 6 people that we spend our time with are the people that we are going to be, or that we are. So starting with the coach is a good way to build a foundation towards really changing those connections. And I expect once you started that coaching program that in fact you started making other connections. Is that the case?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what is it? The five or six people you are surround yourself with, you're the average of those people. And such a so true, right?
Mm-hmm.
That who we associate with is going to really impact us, right? Yeah, so through that connection with my coach and just kind of seeing he encouraged me to reach out to people that I had met at various events and start, just start. So let me step back a little bit. Too often we hold back from reaching out to people because we're afraid of being rejected. Well, that person is going to say no to whatever it is that we are offering or want from them or so forth. Well, don't let allow the other person to reject you. Don't reject yourself if that makes sense, in the sense that, if you ask somebody for anything and they say no, you're not any worse off than you were when you first asked, right? And I think too many people, they make up this image of their mind of loss before they even, or rejection before it even happens, and they don't even ask, right? So that's what I say. Well, ask, and if they say no, okay, you're not any worse off. And I think that was one of the big things that he taught me. Start reaching out to people, and then that has led to some partnerships that have, that flourished during the last 4 years.
Yeah, it is amazing how powerful that fear of rejection can be, and how often it keeps us from attaining the things that we're capable of and the things that we deserve in life, and yet that fear of rejection, which in itself, I mean, the rejection, like you just explained, it has absolutely no power except the power that we give it. And what a lesson to learn. And I'm sure it has made quite a difference in your life over the last 4 years. If you're comfortable in doing so, take us down that journey of where you have been the last 4 years.
Yeah, so it was kind of it was interesting, right? I was still working a W-2 job at there in the beginning of the pandemic. I had been investing in real estate, had a few different deals and stuff, and had started to scale a little bit, but not a lot. And so, we get sent home, right? The companies say, oh, everybody has to work remotely. And at the same time, I had kind of promised my wife that we were going to we were living in a small town in Colorado. So we're going to move back to New Mexico. We had lived for a while because he was tired of the mountains and the snow and everything. So interestingly enough, right? At the same time, as I started working with my coach, I told my boss, I said, hey, I really want to start scaling back. Can we come up with some sort of arrangement for me to go to part-time, and then kind of phase out over the next 6, 8 months and so forth.
Mhm.
And he allowed me to move to New Mexico at the same time. So, a few months in the summer of 2020, we had sold our house a few years before, but we moved out of our rental. We moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico. I start getting just, start working part-time. So I suddenly have, 2 extra days, 2.5 extra days of time to work on the real estate. And I really started, pushing and working with those people that I had met. And I said, okay, let's do some deals. Everybody's kind of fearful here, but interest rates are dropping. This is probably a unique time to start buying some real estate, right? And at the same time, on the whole coaching, through my working with my coach, I actually ended up getting my own certification. So it's two avenues there. One was, let's take advantage of what's going on in the real estate market, low interest rates, and let me work on my own skills as a coach and help other people who are stuck at home, not knowing what to do, to kind of improve their, you know, get through their fear, start taking action, start connecting with their families and everything else. So it was kind of a combination of a bunch of different things that came together, and it really accelerated my life there in, 2020, 2021. And it's kind of kept going since then.
wonderful to see you thriving and flourishing. So in 2020, I can't believe that's 4 years ago, but yes, it has been 4 years ago. The interest rates were down. There was a lot of fear, so there probably were a whole lot of good buying opportunities. We've gone into a very different environment here, high interest rates, and I think that sellers are beginning to adjust to the fact that they are going to have to be more realistic on their pricing, but there's still a lot of sellers out there who think they can get the prices they were getting when there were lower interest rates. But at the same time, there are people who went into the market in 2020 who really didn't know what they were doing, and they acquired a lot of bridge loans, and those debts are coming due, and they're just not going to be able to sustain their investments with the higher interest rates. So, how have you adjusted to this new environment from low interest rates to high interest rates?
Yeah, it certainly has been a challenge. And I think that's also why that title around Don't Create a Cage around your current reality, right? So luckily, we only had one floating rate bridge loan that we took on, I think, in 21 that we were able to refinance out of last year. So we don't have anything that's floating. We do have bridge loans that are fixed rate that are coming due in the next 1 to 2 years, right? So those are certainly things that are looming on the horizon, right? And maybe I think some of the challenges that are facing is that you make predictions about what you know. You make prediction about what you know from the past, right? It's like, well, this is how the world used to work, and this is what it used to cost to turn a unit, and this is what the lead time were, and hiring employees. Now, as things kind of went crazy with supply chain and hiring people and costs spiral, getting really high, it's been challenging to go through the business plans on turning these units and turning these properties within our budgets and getting them leased up and so forth, right? So there's been some deals that our projections certainly have not come, reality has not met our projections. So we are just, holding on to them, just continue to manage them for at least they will be cash flow neutral until we can get to a space where we can either, sell or refinance, right? But I also realize that's probably not this year, right? We're probably another year or more before the capital markets change enough to make it profitable, right? So there are a few of those things, and those are the things that creates the fear and just the challenges right now. But that's, I think, also, as you said, a lot of people were buying a lot of real estate a few years ago, and now we're probably in what real estate really is. It is up and down, and you got to hold on to the tough times and wait for things to improve. And that's, I think, where we stand right now.
Enlightened investors, if you haven't done so already, be sure and click that like button and also click that share so others can take advantage of the content. And finally, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single one of our upcoming episodes. So if I understand you, what you're saying is that we can count on real estate in the long term. There's always going to be fluctuations in the market, but real estate, if we can hold on to the real estate, it has always proven itself to be a good and wise investment. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, case in point, I have so I run a meetup here in Santa Fe where I live, and in November we had a guest speaker, and this guy is like my hero. He's in his mid 60s, I think, and he's been buying real estate for 40 years. That I've never lost money on real estate in 40 years, right? And this guy he said he is the biggest landlord for the state of New Mexico office here in Santa Fe. So he's big.
Yeah.
And basically, he's like, well, there were certainly years where if I had sold it, then I would have lost money, right? I had to do capital calls. I had to get through those difficult times. But if you have partners and investors and patience, you can get through it, right? I think right now the pressure is, well, you know, you said you're going to pay this much every quarter, every month, every year, right? And you're not doing it. Let's just sell and everything else. And I think that's where people lose their shirts if they force to sell, or if some sort of bridge debt come due and you can't refinance and whatnot, right? So, but I think holding on, right? And I have some other. I really love these. There's a lot of gurus out there selling real estate coaching and mentoring a few years ago, and everybody got into the game and they could double their money in 2 years and whatnot. Yeah, that's great. And I think some people did that, but I really like to go back to these kind of older people that not older, but people that have been in the game a long time because they've seen the ups and downs. I have another mentor. He's 80 years old. He's still doing this every single day. And he's like, yeah, I almost got crushed in 2008. My partners, had this one piece of land that they owned. My partners disappeared. I had to feed it for a few years, right? We held on to it and now it's almost paid off, right? So it's just that long-term game. I think we forget that in that mentality of short-term gains and short horizons of making money in anything.
Well, we're talking with Jens Nielsen. And Jens, if you will tell us about your coaching business, how it is that we can get in touch with you to take advantage of those services.
Yes, I mean, I do two things, right? I'm a certified high performance coach, and really what that is, it's the helping people to get clarity around what's important in their lives, right? Clarity around where they want to take their life. That can be their business, their personal life, their relationships. Then we develop the right energy so people have the mental and physical energy to take action. We develop productivity. How do we actually how are we actually productive enough to get the results that we want in life? How do we have the influence that we need in order to enlist people into our cause? And how do we fully live our purpose? How do we figure out what our purpose is and live that out? So that's what I do. I love it because it really helps people not only in their businesses but also in their personal lives. And then I do real estate mentoring too. Somebody wants to learn how to invest in real estate, how to underwrite deals, how to raise capital, how to asset manage deals. I do that as well. So those are the things that I really focus on. And I think, you can put my contact, anybody that's on, listening here, they can jump on a free call with me and basically get to learn more about what I offer if they're interested in any of those services.
And so that is Jens Nielsen, and you can find him at opendoorcapital.com. And you can find a link to a 20-minute free, no strings attached consultation with Jens at his website there. So Jens, how should new investors get started in today's market?
Yeah, it's a challenging time, as we know, right? Raising, interest rates are high and everything. I think what you should do is get educated, right? Really understand what this business is all about. Get the education, understand what it means to underwrite deals, what it means to analyze a market, what it means to raise money, to run the properties. Get that education, start building your team, right? This is not a one person kind of game. I learned that early on, that when I started partnering with people, it was much easier, it was much more fun. So build a team, find somebody that's not, I mean, we have a tendency to connect with people that we are like us, but you need to find people that are a little bit different in order to build a complementary team, right? My partner is, and I love the guy, but he's very different than me from the way he thinks about the world, and that really helps us both. So build that team, start getting, start going, talking to everybody out there that about real estate and say, hey, I'm getting into this. If you ever want to partner, if you ever want to invest with me, I'm going to be I'll be your trusted source for real estate partnerships or real estate investing. So build up. I mean, this year, I think it's a year of building, it's a year of preparing, and then start building those broker relationships too, right? Because say, hey, I am here. I have money backing. Make sure you have them the fund or the investors, and then talk to those brokers and say, I know it may not be the right time, but I'm here. So as soon as something comes up, I'm ready, right? And start working with that. So this is the time to just build those relationships. A lot of people, they will just, especially on the brokers, right? They will just send an email and said, hey, Mr. Broker, Mrs. Broker, I'm looking for this, and that's it. No, you need to get in front of them. You need to take brokers out to lunch, coffee, dinners, whatever it is, travel to the markets that you want to invest in. You cannot do this remotely. I mean, my success and my partner's success has been in the personal relationships that we have built over time. And that doesn't happen through a phone call. That happens by showing up, which takes time and money and effort. But also anything that's worth doing in this world takes time, money, and effort, right? So I think that's what I do. And then, get a mentor, get a coach, or just get somebody that can direct you on that path. That could be somebody that you just my first mentor was just this old gentleman that loved helping newer investors. He does it for free. You may have to pay for it depending on who you can find, but get out there. Basically, that was a long-winded answer, but I think that's really what you
Yeah.
got to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that getting out there really makes the difference. And it can be so challenging just because of what you were talking about earlier. We have this mindset that we are going to be rejected. And so we put the rejection out there before we're ever even rejected. Well, Jens, what kind of deals are you currently focused on?
Yes, I mean, in 2023, we were able to close a few deals, some value add deals. Got a little bit tougher. This year, so here's the other. I'm just going to step back for a minute, right? I I connected with this individual who also lives here in Santa Fe. He moved from Pennsylvania to here, also during the pandemic. We met him through, I think, Bigger Pockets, and we started, having coffees together, just developing the relationships. He was in like commercial, I mean, industrial, light industrial, warehousing, shopping centers, and stuff like that. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I don't know anything about it, and I'm probably not too interested now. But then about a year ago in early 23, he's like, I found this deal. It's it's this, it's 20, what was it, 30 some thousand square feet of warehousing. It's kind of run down. We get it for a great price. Trust me, this will be a great deal. I was like, okay, I trust you. Let's do it, right? And so we bought it at the end of February of 23, and we spent the last year just re-tenanting the deal, fixing it up and everything. He does the work. I'm more the back end. I help raise the money, help set up the structure. So in this case, right here again, a partnership with people with different skill sets. And he does a lot of his work. And we finished all the renovations. It's fully leased we're probably 20 or 30% above our projected income,
Mm.
based upon, how the industrial market has changed. Like, wow, this is amazing. I'm actually excited about doing some more kind of light industrial. So we did this is just a joint venture. We did another small, like, light industrial deal about a month ago and stuff. So we're looking a little bit at that because we feel like the cap rates are actually higher, so you can get a better deal and there's not as much competition. So that's kind of what we're focusing on right now to try and do that. But I'm slow right now in terms of I don't want to do any deals unless they're really good and there's some compelling reason to buy it because, we just got to also manage what else we have, the 2,000 plus units that we have currently owned, right?
Well, and closing us out, Jens, how have you worked on your mindset during the last 18 to 24 months?
Continue to work with a coach, continue to journal every single morning, continue to read books that are focusing on, positive mindset, focusing on just seeing the positive in things, right? It's easy to start going down a dark path, right? So focusing on things that you have control over, focusing on things that's positive in your life, right? And that's what I continue to do every single day, right? Right before you got on the call here, I was journaling and thinking about what today was going to look like and having a gratitude thinking about what I was grateful for and everything else. That's how I continue to stay on the up and up.
Well, we've been visiting with Jens Nielsen. You can find Yen at opendoorscapital.com. That's opendoorscapital.com. Thank you so much, Jens, for being with us today. And enlightened investors, what a pleasure it's been having you with us today. Always appreciate you taking the time to be with us. Please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe, and we would be greatly appreciative if you could go to your favorite podcast app and leave us a rating and a review. Until next time, live abundantly, and we'll see you in the next episode. Enlightened investors, wait, don't go just yet. I just want to remind you about our recently launched webinar that you will not want to miss. If you're at all curious and would like to learn more about how real estate investing can diversify your investment portfolio, alleviate the anxiety associated with Wall Street swings, leverage your 401ks and IRAs to substantially increase the return on your investment, and do all of this with turnkey, hands-off, passive real estate investments, then you'll want to immediately go to stevetalker.com/webinar. In the webinar, we'll also address the common dubious investment schemes that you want to avoid. To access the webinar, go to stevetalker.com/webinar. I look forward to seeing you in the webinar.
Thank you for tuning in to Real Estate Investing Abundance, brought to you by Steve Talker Capital, a company working for passionate professionals like you to develop financial independence built on solid, passive real estate investments. As part of our efforts to make the world a better place, Steve Talker Capital contributes to activities and organizations committed to better understand the equine. These endeavors attempt to enhance the human treatment of horses worldwide. Steve Talker Capital, working for a world where all creatures, great and small, flourish abundantly. For resources to develop your financial independence, connect with us at stevetalker.com.